Hello, everybody. I have decided to do some of my lives during the day, and then everyone who can't jump on can just watch at night. First, I have to give a little shout out to my friend Allison, since she understands me so much. And anyway, today we're going to talk about environmental toxins and how you can cut them down. This is something that, as crunchy and green as I am, I even let slip sometimes. So we're going to start with a couple things. First of all, Roundup is something that we all use in the house, around the house. Not all of us, I don't, but a lot of chemical companies that you use for your yard will come and they'll spray this chemical. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about your drinking water and how it can be an environmental toxin. We're going to talk about dryer sheets. We're going to talk about how to get mold out of the house. New stuffed animals, clothing, how to get rid of chemicals from new furniture and car seats, and avoiding plastics pretty much altogether, but drinking water as well. So first, I'm going to start with one of my favorites, which is chemicals in clothing, because a lot of people don't realize how many chemicals are in clothing. So growing up, I had a lot of friends who would just buy their outfit and then wear it without washing it. And it always has that like starchy feel to it. So I'm all about the links. I'm going to share everything, all my research with you. I'm going to share all the links and everything that I learned after I close out this video so that you can see yourself and do your own research. But first of all, worldwide, it is thought that conventional cotton, which is what we make our towels out of, our clothes, our underwear, is responsible for 25% of the glyphosate or insecticides in the world. So your clothes, everything that you wear, unless it's organic clothing, is responsible for 25% of the insecticides that are sprayed. Anything cotton, tampons, pads, things that you wash your face with, anything that's cotton, anything, and that transfers over to the body. So if you're using towels or wearing clothes without washing them, don't do it anymore. Now, conventional cotton also has things like, hi Maria, long time no see, has things like silicone waxes, heavy metals, flame retardants, ammonia, formaldehyde. That's just a few of the things that you're going to find on brand new clothing. So if you buy something from the store for your kids and you want to put it on them right away, please avoid this, because these chemicals, it takes 11 seconds once something hits your skin to actually go into the system and get into the blood work and into the body. So if you try a cream on at the store or perfume, that is going into your body in 11 seconds. So if you're perspiring, if your kids are sweating, you are actually accelerating putting those chemicals into their body, which brings me to wicking clothing. So a lot of people think that wicking clothing means that it just pushes off the sweat. That's not true. It actually, it tries to stop the body from sweating. So our body tries to shed over 1 pound of toxins a day. That's a normal body, not MTHFR. If you have any gene mutations that don't allow you to detox, this is not pointed or directed at you. But most typical bodies that are functioning properly are trying to get rid of 1 pound of toxins a day. If you're wearing wicking clothing or wicking underwear or wicking socks, it's actually inhibiting you from sweating. So it's stopping the sweat from coming out the body, which is absolutely the opposite of what you want to do. So that stuff is also called high performance gear. I know they're making a lot of men's underwear out of it, and it's actually men, we detox through those lymph nodes. Those are strong lymph nodes down there. You want to get rid of all of that detox without being too personal. So chemicals in clothing. If you're just joining us, please watch it from the beginning. Let me know if you watched the replay or if you watched it, the live. But we're talking about all the different chemicals, and we started with chemicals in clothing and why you should not put brand new clothes on yourself or on your children. Next, we're going to jump over to another one that I absolutely love, which is the stuff that you find in your yard. We touched on it for just a second, which is Roundup. I'm always talking about Roundup. But I'm going to give you a little smidge of history on Monsanto, which is the company that makes Roundup, which is making all, it's what they spray on our food. If you're buying conventional food that's not organic, it's got glyphosate. The Monsanto Roundup is also called glyphosate. Monsanto is actually responsible for Agent Orange also. I don't know if you've heard about Agent Orange. It is the chemical that was actually killing off all the bald eagles, but it was also giving these wild, crazy, like disease type symptoms to people that were directly in contact with it, but it's also going down the bloodline from the people as well. So that is something to consider. So Monsanto is responsible for Agent Orange. They actually saccharin, the little pink packet that's being linked to memory issues in women over 50. That is actually one of their first things they made. And now glyphosate. There's a lot of other information about what else they are responsible for, but we won't get too crazy into that. But they're also the ones that are making the GMO seeds. So Monsanto has a lot of evil stuff going on there, and they are really responsible for a lot of the illness. And the glyphosate is actually being tied to cancers. And you've probably seen all the lawsuits that are going out. One of the most recent, the man, he was awarded $289 million for his injuries because of the glyphosate. So if you're thinking, well, I can't always buy organic food, something that you should think about again. Yes, I agree. It's very important. This is important. So Roundup actually mimics estrogen in the body. So not only that, it's making people infertile. So it's mimicking estrogen, and we don't know what that means exactly, other than with men and women, it's bad either way. We're having all these crazy hormone issues. I was watching a woman who was talking about hormone issues, and she said there's no way that God would have made our bodies, women's bodies, to self-destruct on themselves in their 50s so that we are no longer, we can't function. PMS is becoming crazy. Women are debilitated with PMS and pain, and same thing with some of these, change of life situations. And these are things that's not normal. That's not how people were meant to make that. Years ago, that's not how it went. That's not how it went down. So a little bit about Roundup. What it does is it actually, the way that it works, it's got a compound in it that actually starves the plant. And I believe it's so that it can't absorb anything. And so when we get in contact with that Roundup glyphosate, it does something similar to us. It makes it so we cannot absorb some amino acids and some highly, highly important enzymes. So a lot of people are dealing with these issues where they're not absorbing their nutrition, and we can't figure out why. Well, it's because you're eating this chemical that is literally blocking your receptors to receiving the nutrient that you're eating. So that's actually called cytochrome P450. And it's an enzyme that in our body that is being blocked, and it actually helps your body detox environmental toxins. So not only is it making it so you can't absorb these nutrients, it's actually making it so you can't detox either. So glyphosate is literally making our body implode. Now we know why we're having all these cancer issues that are linked to this Monsanto dirty, dirty chemical. All right, so moving on, we're going to talk a little bit about killing your weeds naturally. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? My husband asked the same question because we have two small kids and they literally lick the pavement and roll in the grass. I think my son, was licking a rock the other day, and it's normal. Dirt is his favorite. I try not to post too many pictures of my kids because, I don't know, I'm a little bit private. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, but he's a common offender of eating dirt. Let's just say that, and he'll love me later in life. But he knows I fired all of our lawn guys because they kept telling me they were using natural stuff. And we had weeds. And finally I went outside and I said, what are you spraying? What are you going to spray on here? And the guy said, oh, well, it's a chemical. But I said, is that Roundup? You told me it was natural. Well, you want me to get rid of the weeds or not? So I fired every single one. Now my husband has to figure it out. He found an amazing recipe. It's salt, vinegar, and soap. And I will post that recipe after this live, and you can find it yourself. It kills the weeds in one day. You spray it on, and the weed goes completely white, and then it's dead, and it literally crumbles away. It's amazing. So I'm going to post that recipe for you. All right, so also we're going to talk about everything that you're using to clean your house. A lot of people think bleach, Fabuloso, all of those things are the only thing you can clean your house with. I do know some people are using white vinegar. I use white vinegar. I use a lot of the organic stuff. It's cheaper than some of the chemical stuff that you're using. And it's going to be all natural with essential oils, tea tree oil. White vinegar will help get rid of mold in the house. If you have kids' toys or bath toys, I'm sure you get that weird pink mold because it's Florida. We have mold on everything. You can walk into a perfectly clean house and find a weird smelling mold. White vinegar is magic. Tea tree oil is magic. Having a HEPA filter is magic. Ozone filters. We have ozone. Everyone that walks into my house is always trying to figure out what the smell is. It's ozone. Okay, we ozone our house. But that is huge. And staying away from bleach and chemicals like that, you don't realize, but they can be actually damaging to the cells in your lungs. So another one. This one, I remember I started doing this. My daughter is 5, and I started going kind of over the top. And I remember when people started to call me like kind of extreme, like I was starting to hit that peak. And every stuffed animal, every blanket, every piece of clothing that someone would bring my daughter, I would soak it in white vinegar and baking soda. And what that does is it actually breaks down the flame retardants. So a lot of these, if you are buying footy pajamas and stuff like that, and they feel like that plasticky feel, those have flame retardants on them. You can buy organic pajamas on super clearance at Burt's Bees 2 or 3 times a year, which is what I do, and I buy tons of sizes, and they're like $8, and they have no flame retardants, and they're organic. Your kids are going to sleep in that. They're going to sweat in that. They're going to absorb all of that. It goes straight to their liver. Their body is going to have a hard time with all the other environmental chemicals if they're sleeping in flame retardants, which is another thing that is actually tied to cancers, which brings me to their car seats. Finding a car seat that isn't completely laced and just soaked in flame retardants is almost impossible. So degassing, that's huge. So if you have a new piece of furniture, you have, I'm not allowed to tell you this, I didn't say this, but you can use your vinegar and baking soda to get the flame retardants off of anything. Maybe you do it for your car seat, maybe you don't. You're not supposed to, because then it's no longer valid or usable because the flame retardants are gone off of it. So you can degas it, which means you sit it in the sun. I believe it's for 24 hours in the heat, and it's supposed to help break down all of the flame retardants and chemicals on it. A lot of furniture we do that for too. So if it's not something you can throw in the washer, do it for that. Even if it's a decorative pillow, it's getting vinegar and it's getting baking soda at my house, soaking and washed in hot water, sometimes 2 or 3 times before I'll put it anywhere in the house. This should be a no-brainer, but sometimes we forget. Obviously, don't cook anything hot and then put it in plastic and then serve it to yourself or your children, because it's still going to break down the plastics and they're going to go into the body. Same thing with, hot coffees. I see people carrying those tumblers and they've got that black plastic inside. It's going to break down. It's going to melt. You're going to get some of those chemicals into the body. So avoid doing that. The dryer sheets. This one, a lot of people don't realize, but you're using dryer sheets and it's got phyphlates. What are phyphlates? They're actually a chemical that is, it's found in soft plastics. I'm writing everything down now because sometimes I forget to say something because I have so much to say. So if you see me looking, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep track of everything I have to say. They're endocrine disruptors. So a lot of these plastics, now you're seeing PBA free on everything. but there's still other chemicals that they're swapping it for so that it's stabilized and so that the plastic is durable. Five-flates is actually most of the soft plastic toys that the kids have, or if you're using those plastic containers for your food that are kind of soft, that is more where you're going to find the five-flates. And it's a hormone disruptor. Those things, a lot of these things we're covering will make you infertile. So our kids who are constantly being exposed to Monsanto chemicals, five-flates, they're, all of these different chemicals and flame retardants and bleaches and all of this stuff. I mean, we're already having, on my last live, we talked about how 10% of the population, it's worldwide, is having an infertility issue. And that's huge. I think they said it was, a state of emergency at that point or something like that. And it's a big deal. So the five-flates are not only in plastic, they're putting it in your cosmetics. They're putting them in your lotions, in the toys, it's in plumbing, it's in wood flooring, it's in a lot of plastic things that you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be in. Even some of your lipsticks, things like this, and you're eating that. So keeping your environment less toxic is going to make a huge difference on how your children grow up, if they're going to be fertile or infertile in life, if they're going to end up with cancer, if you're going to end up with cancer. These are all things, they're preventative steps. It's important to take. And, I have some people tell me organic food costs more money, or buying, this or that is going to cost more money. It might, but how much is your life worth to you? That's something you have to think about. And I don't mean to sound like an extremist, and I'm not trying to scare you. I don't benefit off of any of this. For me, it's just, I see, when I see people walking around that don't understand or don't know about this, it hurts my heart, which is why I'm here on another live video in the middle of the day, just chatting you up. So if you have any questions, I hope that I have some answers or some links to share. I'm going to share information about everything we've been talking about in just a minute. I have a couple things I wanted to add to the links. And keep in mind, there are ways to remove these issues. Make sure you're sweating every single day. Stay away from the performance gear. Make sure you're taking your methylated Bs or your B complexes. Those are going to help you, they're going to help you detox. Make sure you're taking liver detoxing stuff every single day. Have hot water and lemon in the morning. That helps your liver detox before you eat anything else. Have your beets. Beets will help soften your liver, will help remove all the toxins in your body. Make sure that, you try your Biomedic. That removes the glyphosate in the body. That's going to help with the cancer issues. There's a lot of things that you have to focus on for detoxing. Make it a daily thing. It's not impossible. It's not so much work. It's just something to add to your routine every morning. I have a glass of hot water and lemon in the morning, and sometimes I put the thieves in it because it helps with the mold in the air, the mold in the body, the mold in the lungs. Make sure that you're setting a diffuser with some essential oils that kill molds. And that's going to be huge for your kids, for you, especially if you live in Florida, especially if you live anywhere where it's humid. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be back again with another live soon. Just let me know what you want to hear about. Okay, bye-bye.